Creator up VPN tier list.
Hey guys, what is going on? My name is Thomas Spark. Welcome back to another video. Looks like there's been some interesting news happening over the last couple days. Turns out that Windscribe's code might not be as good as people thought it was. Are you guys ever worried about getting doxxed? I know I am, and that's why I use a service like Incogni to make sure no one can find my IRL information if they find my name. A service like Incogni goes to all the available data brokers out there like white pages and these different websites. It will tell these websites to remove your information and it saves you tons of time. Use my link in the description down below to get 50% off Incogni as you see here on this website to get this deal. This is my top rated data broker removal tool. It's around half the price of competing services like Delete Me and it has a better interface to boot. So thanks for checking out this one and let's get back to the video. So guys, what exactly am I talking about? Well, on Twitter, there's this guy called Gergely. If you look at his profile, he's a bug bounty hunter, and he seems to be like some kind of Hungarian researcher. So why exactly am I mentioning this guy? Well, this guy posted a post on Twitter saying, hey, Windscribe, congrats on 69 million customers. Here's a 0-day kind of exploit in your shitware, and he posted a blog post about this. So he talks about there is a root privilege escalation due to a race condition in Windscribe's VPN software. Now he goes on to say, what is Windscribe? It seems like he kind of has some personal bias against him. They're notorious on Twitter for being super funny in a childish troll kind of way, which understandably rubs a lot of people wrong. Now he also says funnier than their Twitter account though is their code base, which has generally been made open source. This is a good move generally speaking, but not in this instance, as it took me 5 minutes to find code quality that is more in line with this first C++ project than a multi-million-dollar flagship product. But hey, fuck the coders, am I right? Bunch of useless nerds. It's better for business if they spend that budget on people who can shitpost on social media. So they're kind of talking about how they went through the client. We can see that parts of the server-side processing are copy-pasted between the Mac, Linux, and Windows versions. Feel free to skip ahead, but there are just some snippets that indicated their lack of expertise. So he's saying the code isn't really that good, which is kind of interesting. So he kind of goes through here talking about some of the details of the code. I'll be putting this in the description down below if you're interested in looking at some of more technical stuff discussed here. He says generally desktop VPN software is an easy target, but Windscribe is on a whole nother level of bad. He talks about here. The Windscribe helper on macOS called com.windscribe.launcher.macOS runs as root and takes commands from the desktop client on a Unix socket. This works pretty similar on other operating systems. He only looked at the Mac version, but Linux is pretty much one-to-one and Windows is not much better. So he seemed to imply that the code is pretty similar between the different operating systems. Now he talks about the bug right here. The privilege helper relies on checking the sender's PID and performing checks on the sender's program path. It even does it with a signature verification on it. While this sounds good in theory, it's completely useless. Anyone with a brain knows that PID checking is racy, meaning an attacker can execute the authorized binary right after sending their malicious payload, bypassing every check. This software also boosts the C++ library to pass structured data between these processes. This library was never meant to work with untrusted data, so we can corrupt the helper's memory, but there's an easier way to execute the commands as root. Since Windscribe calls OpenVPN/WireGuard/etc in subshells, it is trivial to inject our payload to gain root command execution. They made a ridiculous attempt at preventing this by filtering various characters, but they forgot the most basic one. It's like a little symbol here. This can be used to execute our payload. In all fairness, this would never work as it's bad architectural design. Invoking subshells is a massive can of worms and securing is a difficult and error prone. Not to mention the command invoked is vulnerable to misuse if the arguments are attacker controlled. This is bad design. An attacker controlling any parameter OpenVPN is pretty much a slam dunk vulnerability, so I have no idea why this is like this in the first place.
Imagine you have a special app on your computer that keeps your internet activities private, like a secret diary. However, there's a problem with how this app checks if the instructions it receives are from trusted sources. It's like having a secret handshake to enter a clubhouse, but the app checks the handshake too slowly. While it's busy checking, someone sneaky could quickly do the handshake and then do something naughty before the app realizes it's not supposed to let them in. Also, the app uses a special method to send and receive secret messages that wasn't designed for keeping very important secrets. If someone clever enough knew how to mess with these messages, they could confuse the app and make it do things it shouldn't. Moreover, when the app needs to use other tools to help keep your internet safe, it doesn't do this very securely. It's like yelling a secret across the playground instead of whispering. The app tries to prevent sneaky inputs by blocking certain secret words, but it forgot one. That means someone could still sneak in a naughty command.
I did not test the other platforms, but the other platforms seem to work similarly. It's unlikely the platforms are not vulnerable. Even if they aren't, it wouldn't take much work to find what is going on wrong. The code is full of anti-patterns and lazy, naive solutions, so I wouldn't be shocked if someone takes a bit more time than I did and floods the company with new 0 days every week. Yikes. He later kind of discusses why he didn't go to the bug bounty program. He seemed to kind of just release this disclosure publicly, which is kind of odd. According to him, he says the company has a history of not paying researchers, for what I've been told privately, and their maximum payout of $5,000 is not worth months of my time going back and forth with their team who created this masterpiece of engineering in the first place. I'd much rather customers realize how dangerous the software is to them than to report the bug and get gagged by a non-disclosure agreement. So it seems like he is kind of taking some risk here to get it out as quick as possible. And he doesn't really care too much about the money, or maybe he just doesn't think they'll actually pay him. He says, I did publish this piece and did the research to prove that commercial VPN software is low quality garbage. While all can speak for certain about Windscribe, in my experience, the others are not much better. So this is a very interesting kind of case here. One, because it shows some serious kind of perhaps bad design by Windscribe's code base, but also because it kind of speaks to the ethical nature of bug disclosure. Let's go ahead and check out the Twitter where we can see more discussion about this. And it's quite interesting because he did get into kind of an argument with the founder of Windscribe himself, Yegor Sak. For some reason, he brings up this guy's political hatred towards Musk. I'm not really sure why that is the case. He says this right here. So you hate Musk as a person? I get it, but this is a childish way of handling things. Politically motivated rage disclosures are the opposite of professionalism in the field. Ironically, he demonstrated Musk-like behavior. I'm not really quite sure where this Musk maybe Yegor had kind of looked at this guy's profile or something like this. Or he doesn't like Elon Musk. I tried to look into it, but I couldn't really find anything about that. So not really sure what that is coming from. Most of his feed just seems to be kind of talking about code and various vulnerabilities. So he kind of responds here. This is not politically motivated. The code base is genuinely hilarious. I guess you don't have a sense of humor when it's your company. Also, for the record, what would have been unprofessional is not notifying you guys at all and working a tiny bit more to drop weaponized exploits for all your platforms, not just macOS, which is a small one. That would also be illegal. And he kind of discusses that I'm not trying to wage war on Twitter, but what you've done here is unethical and contrary to bug disclosure programs. Every single piece of software has bugs. Instead of posting emotions aside, you chose to do what you did while stating the things you said in your article as excuse, which are simply untrue. I don't know what you've been told privately, but you can see in our changelogs where we credit and pay ethical white hats. So apparently the issue will be fixed the next release, and we went ahead and donated the bug bounty to a Brazilian charity. It just seems a little weird to me. I don't know exactly why they did that. Maybe they should have just paid this guy for at least disclosing it, maybe develop a further relationship with him in the future, maybe pay him to even find any more bugs if possible. So they kind of go into various kind of legal discussions, saying Yegor was kind of claiming here that it doesn't seem legal to kind of doing it here. And this guy says talk to his lawyer, and it kind of petered out after that. Here's some changelogs from Windscribe detailing various fixes and stuff like that. So yeah, what do you guys make of this? It's interesting to see that this hacker is saying Windscribe's code is not very good. There's some interesting ethical discussion about the nature of revealing these bugs and stuff like this. So yeah, I just thought I kind of wanted to make a video on that. But there you go, guys. I just thought you should know about this one.